the part or the role that I played in the beginnings of Urban University and Bonkers for Jesus, I had the great privilege of being a part of it when it was in its very infancy, when it was still a dream. When I had come to the Erie City Mission, it was my heart's desire to restore a vibrant ministry to women and children and youth, because that had been part of the wonderful history of the Erie City Mission in its early days. The mission had always had a strong ministry to women and also a strong ministry to children and youth. And I wanted to see that revived. I wanted new life to come into that. And so as we, Rosemarie and I and others, dreamed about how do we go about that, I just watched the Holy Spirit take it by the tail and bring it into action. It was something that was a God thing. It really was an inspiration on Rose's part. I remember when she came into my office and talked to me about it, I thought at first that she was a little crazy, but I learned over 6 years of working with Rose that she had a lot of crazy ideas that really were very, very good. And so we just continued to pursue it and breathe life into it and rely on the Holy Spirit. And we watched that dream become a reality and in its infancy. And now from afar to watch it be what it is today, it's truly an astounding thing. And you have to stand back and say, God did this.
I think I introduced the youth ministries to the Erie City Mission. And it was a great story because I had the chance to be a part of reintroducing youth ministries to the scope of the services that we offer at the Erie City Mission. And little did we realize when we took a stab at that back in 2011 and ventured into the greatest adventure, I think, of my life and many other lives that were a part of it. So we decided to try to do a 1-week sports and arts camp based on a model that I had participated in at my home church. And it was hugely successful in ways that we could have never scripted or orchestrated. And that was called Bonkers for Jesus.
I got involved with Urban University when it was actually an elementary camp, Bonkers for Jesus. So at the very beginning, I had a passion for what Rosemarie had developed and her vision, and I wanted to be a part of that vision. So in spite of not knowing what we were doing when we started Bonkers for Jesus, I can say that, especially with Rosemarie's way of getting people excited and to buy into what we were doing, it was amazing to see how 1 week of camp turned into 3 separate weeks of camp, turned into an after-school program and a summer program.
Bonkers for Jesus was a summer camp originally for 1st through 5th graders. They came around the time of 8 or 9, I don't quite remember. And they would pick 2 courses. They'd do their first course. We start with Praise in Motion, and I led Praise in Motion. Then they do their first course. Then we had Snack, which was a great time. We loved Snack. We love Snack. And then they would do their second course, and then their parents would pick them up.
That first week was really quite amazing. I remember after we kind of settled on, okay, this is going to be our approach in this inaugural session of what was then called Bonkers for Jesus. And all the planning that Rose and her team did to make sure that we had a good, strong start. I remember Rosemarie and Aaron and I started canvassing some of the neighborhoods on the east side just to make increase awareness about what we were doing and invite children to come and be a part of that first Bonkers for Jesus.
We were trying to recruit and knock on doors and very boisterously yell, "Are you Bonkers for Jesus?"
I think that morning there were 16 or 17 kids that were present. on that first morning. And, you know, I don't know about how Rose was feeling, but I was feeling a little bit deflated and thinking, wow, we put a lot of energy into this. We've been praying about this. We really believe we're doing what God is asking us to do. There's only 16 kids. Come on, this is, you know, it's got to be more than this. So I remember Diane Sutton, I think she was principal of one of the schools. Diane and I said, all right, we took the bull by the horns. And we just started going out into the neighborhood that very morning and started kind of casting a net and inviting kids to come. We saw kids in a playground or standing on a street corner and just invited, hey, we're doing Bonkers for Jesus. Why don't you come? We're having a great time, all of that. And I believe by the end of that first week, there were over 100 children that had participated in Bonkers for Jesus.
During Bonkers for Jesus, obviously, we were a small team, so volunteers were essential for us to get a lot of these camps up and running. And so we actually had a lot of great mission teams that would come in and support us. And the partnership of those teams has continued throughout the years, but they were vital to really getting us up and running.
The role of the mentors in Urban University and Bonkers for Jesus was critical. And we were blessed in those days with so many people who came forward, stepped up and said, I want to help. I want to be a part of this. Talented people who were fully committed to Jesus Christ and so wanting to impact these children and youth. These mentors really were a critical part of the whole team. They weren't just an appendage or an add-on. They really were critical to the success of Urban University. And I sense, again, looking from afar, that those mentors are still a powerful part of what you're doing.
So Tracy, I just wanted to talk a little bit about those early years with Bonkers for Jesus and how it all started. The one thing that I remember is that it was so organic. And while we had a vision and a plan, it came together in ways that we could not have scripted or orchestrated. And so I just wanted to revisit some of those early memories and when we were first starting to think about returning youth to the scope of Erie City Mission's ministries. There was this desire for us not to just start a program, just to have a program, but really to meet a need in our community. And I think that for me personally, it was really wanting to make learning fun and build community. And we, visited with other youth programs and youth directors in the community and had asked them, what is it how can we meet the needs of the youth? And they really shared that to make learning fun, to create an inspiration and a desire for education.
So my involvement with it, I really rolled up my sleeves and got involved with then Bonkers for Jesus and then Urban University later. It was really important to me as a servant leader to not only see the staff that I was working with take leadership, but I felt it was important as the executive director to show that I bought into this, that I was supporting it. So we did some music classes and did some fun things that were noisy and engaging, and the kids learned some of the fundamentals of music, which was a lot of fun. But then as Rose challenged me and said, what else can you do, Crocker? Get with it. I said, okay, well, I cook, I can teach some cooking. And we did some really exciting things. We made homemade pizza dough and made homemade pizzas and all kinds of interesting culinary things that were interesting to the kids that they had never experienced before. It was so much fun watching their eyes light up and realize that, pizza didn't come out of the freezer. You could actually put flour and yeast and water together and make a dough and put the toppings on, and it was great. And they ate their own pizza. But the best part of that week that I remember, and this is one of my most favorite memories, is that in that week of culinary class, we planned in those weeks. It wasn't just 1 week, it was weeks at that point. I think the sessions were 6 weeks long or something like that. We planned a menu to serve to the families at the family celebration. And they set the tables, they put the tablecloths on and learned how to set the table with the silverware in the right places. They cooked the entire meal. They served the meal and then sat down with their families. And that memory is so special to me. And I will never forget how proud those kids were that they did this, and their families proud of them for the accomplishment. I walked away from that just so refreshed and riding on the clouds.
I mean, we've had amazing courses such as sewing and technology. Music and technology is one of my favorite ones, where kids were challenged to get out of their comfort zones and learn coding, yet then playing these instruments and making these things. Like, I'm not an engineer and all that kind of stuff, but I really enjoyed it. Just so many different courses through the STEM kind of programs, and the culinary arts, where kids learn, take ownership. I can cook at home.
One of the things that I always was trying to challenge, that one of the very first and simplest things that we were trying to challenge the youth to do was just put that smile on their faces. And I remember a lot of kids coming in, of course it was early morning, but coming in and just with a very downcast look. And then when we were doing the praise in motion with Miss Olivia, and there was such fervor and excitement, you know, in the room, it really just significantly blessed me to watch not only our kids and our adults participating, but again, I thought, there's joy here. There's the joy of the Holy Spirit here. So maybe just share, you know, a little bit about your memories on that.
Yeah, I do. I remember it was early. A lot of kids are like, I don't want to be here. It's way too early. But you were a huge inspiration to everyone and impacted their lives and mine, because you do have this energy. And you were that leader in saying, I'm getting out of my comfort zone at 8 in the morning. You need to get out of your comfort zone. I'm smiling, you need to smile. And you even called out the kids on that. You would say, you know, if you don't catch me smiling, you have my permission to come up to me and tell me I'm not smiling. And some of the kids did.
And they did.
I would lead the praise and motion, and we would start Monday with like these brand new kids, and they would be quiet and shy and not want to do anything. Come Wednesday or Thursday, when they started to get to know the songs, they were screaming and dancing and hugging each other. And you know, I'm just standing on the stage watching it happen with all the students. And there's one specific song where there was two, I think, where I got to jump into the crowd and be a part of it, which was really fun.
The music was crazy. It was, you know, all the actions and movements and everything that we did, you know, and here we are in this hot, sweaty gym. I mean, they were hot summer days, and you got 100+ kids, and everybody's moving around. And, you know, it was like a furnace in that gymnasium, you know. But again, because I didn't want to act like I was too important or too good to not participate in those, I jumped right in and did all the silly things and all the fun things that they were doing.
Probably one of the greatest impacts it's had on me is the relationship that I was able to build with the parents. So while I was not 100% involved with the youth and working in the classroom with a lot of the youth, I got to develop the parent relationships, meet the parents of the students coming in, get to understand where they were in their journey, and be able to minister to them as well. And so for me, that was really important. It impacted me by allowing me to grow my own social skills, but also just to understand and humble myself into where other people are in life.
In addition to making learning fun, it was important for us to, like you said, build community, and that conclusion of every week was always built around bringing the families together, a family celebration to allow the students to showcase what they did.
We had packed gyms, and we had a lot of ice cream, and but we had everything showcased very well, and I think pretty professionally, so they could see each of their students' things. We empowered the students to go to their tables and talk about their week and their art, or whatever they did that week. We would have them go up and showcase their dances or whatever. And then afterwards, we encouraged everyone to go and just meet the parents, try to go and talk to as many parents as possible, make those connections. And yes, it was a 1-week camp, but the kids look forward to it for the next year. And that, why we got Urban University started was those kids graduating from elementary to junior high were like, what are you going to do next year for us? And so even though it seemed maybe sometimes insignificant to some people, it's like just a 1-week camp, it was very significant to those kids and those families because they felt that community and they felt like, I'm a part of something. Amazing how God works and was able to open doors that we didn't even think could be opened. That He was able to give us the community support that was needed to even have the resources available to accomplish what we accomplished. And it really was fun. And at those early stages, I can remember just kind of going in blindly, not sure what we were going to come up against because we weren't educators. But we were putting ourselves in situations where a lot of these kids, a lot of these youth come from really difficult backgrounds. And so God gave us the courage, but I think He also gave us the tools to minister to these kids in ways that we didn't even know we could.
So I think it's had a profound impact, continues to have, and I'm just delighted to see that it's still vibrant and robust and growing and changing. It hasn't remained static. It really has moved. When you compare what you all are doing right now in Urban University and the outstanding learning opportunities and growth experiences that you're having, when you compare those with that first summer experience back at Burton Elementary, in that first week of Bonkers for Jesus, in that hot, sweaty gym, it's night and day. So it's an amazing thing. And again, I know I'm repeating myself when I say this, but it really is a God thing.